Is it
And
on?
we are
Hello.
live. Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Hold on. I need to just check this if this is working or not.
I'm pretty sure it's working.
Okay.
Yeah, you can see the live button there.
Okay. Because
Yeah.
on YouTube it's not working for some reason.
Oh, it's just got to refresh, I think.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Anyways, all right. So, hey everyone, my name's Nabila, and I am one of the curators for my BBM. You can find me on the Bibliomania on YouTube and at Nabila was here on Twitter. Mali.
Okay. Hi guys. I'm Mali from. Well, my Twitter is Mali with 4 A's, and I'm also on Instagram, Malimania, and I also write reviews at malimania.blogspot.com.
And she's
Yeah.
also one of the
And oh yeah,
curators.
I'm also one of the curators of my Bibliomaniacs, and I am also a booktuber, and you can find me at Malimania. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot. And
Yeah.
today we have, unfortunately, Kim was unable to make it because she didn't get to finish reading it. So she won't be joining us this time around, but hopefully she's watching. So today we have a special guest. I'd like to introduce Shahira.
Hi! Hey guys, it's Shahira and I'm from Bookless. So that's book LBS underscore. I'm on Twitter, Instagram as well.
Yeah, so we've got her to help out a bit because obviously for myself and Mali, we tend to read more young adult, and Shahira tends to
Yeah.
read more general fiction and stuff like that. So we've got her help to help us out in the discussion today.
Yay. She's like the
So
more pro at this whole genre.
But
Glad to have you, Shahira.
this
yeah,
is my first discussion, so it's very nice. Looking forward to it.
yeah.
Yay.
Okay, hold on. So this month we read the book Flowers for Algernon. It was the general fiction book that was chosen and voted from everyone. And basically, if you have not read it, it is about this man named Charlie Gordon who has an IQ of 68. And he undergoes this operation which essentially is supposed to increase his IQ, and they previously did this same operation on this mouse called Algernon, which is why the book is called Flowers for Algernon. And then, so his IQ starts increasing, but then after that, he realizes that Algernon is rapidly deteriorating, so it's just a matter of whether he is going to encounter the same fate as Algernon or not. And it's about his struggle with getting an increased IQ, but at the same time not really growing up as fast, not emotionally advancing as fast as his IQ was. If that makes any sense. So Shahira, do you want to just generally give what your rating was and your thoughts about it, what you didn't like and what you did like about it?
Okay, so Flowers for Algernon, the genre was classified as kind of like science fiction, like very general science fiction. It was published back in around the 70s, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, so
Really?
yeah, it's an old
I
book.
didn't even know that. I didn't even know that.
It's a very
Okay.
old book, and it's actually quite famous among European schools, I think, or American schools. They use it for the
They
literature.
actually study it in literature, right?
Right, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, I rarely read science fiction, and I really enjoyed this one. My rating for it would be around 4.5 to 5, I guess, because later on we'll discuss
A
about
lot.
the emotional parts and everything. Yeah.
But can you let us know one thing that you liked about it and one thing that maybe did not give you a full 5 stars?
Ah, okay, let's see. I like the plot. That's one thing. It was very fast paced. It's a very short book, so you don't get bored with it as easily. One thing I didn't really like about it was, I guess, the certain characters inside it that just pissed me off. It was just so irritating. Yeah, we will discuss that later as well.
All right, and Molly?
Okay. I rated it 4.0 out of 5, which is for me like kind of like an average to a bit above average book. I generally really enjoyed it, but if you know how I rate, it's kind of lower than a lot of books, right? I think how to say okay, first of all, I actually read it on ebook because Bookalicious didn't have a copy of it yet, and I'm still waiting for it. So I had to read it on ebook. And the problem with me in ebook is I tend to sort of not be able to really get into the book as much as a physical copy. So, I mean, that's not the book's fault, lah, but that kind of affected my reading a bit and things like that. But generally, I really like how it's really related to psychology because I'm taking psychology and it's talking
Yeah.
about mental disabilities and how people perceive these kind of things and sort of like a bit of an advancement in the whole psychology field also. So I really found that interesting and it's just sort of like my field kind of thing. So I liked that, and I liked the writing style, especially, was the thing that I would highlight as what I like the most about the book. And I couldn't really feel emotionally attached to the character though. I think it's just me because a lot of people were like, "Oh my God, they cried," and things like that. But I couldn't feel that very much. It's possibly of the fact that I read it on ebook and it was like kind of fast, so I'm pretty sure I need to sit down and read a physical copy, and I think I would enjoy rereading it for a second time, and I'd probably notice a lot more things lah. But yeah, that's generally my opinion.
Yeah, I'm glad that I read
Yeah.
the physical copy. I've got this copy. I checked it
Ah,
out from the library. Thank goodness my library had it. Yeah, yours is so much nicer, Shayira. Mine is like
yeah,
a
yeah, that's
plain
such
blue
a
copy.
Shahira's book is
Massive one.
like has a really cute cover. Did you bring it? Oh yeah, there it is. Yeah, I
It has
want
a
that
cute mouse
cover.
at the front. It's like so adorable.
Yeah, yeah.
So my rating is
Algernon.
I haven't really decided yet, but it's between a 4.7 and to 5. So I gave it a really pretty high rating.
What
I'm
was it?
between 4.7 to 5. So I
Wow,
give it
That's
a really
very
it's
high.
really
I don't know.
high.
I really enjoyed it. It was a really fast-paced book.
Okay.
There were a lot of things that I learned from it, and the only I don't know. I cannot. The reason that I'm giving it such a high rating is because I cannot really find a flaw in it. I really enjoyed the writing
Okay.
style and how it reflects the characters' IQ, and then I also enjoyed the lessons that he took from his increase in IQ, and I don't know. There were a lot of things that this book made me think about and reflect upon. So I really cannot find anything that is bad about it. So maybe after we discuss, I might bring it down a little or increase it. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I think you should just like leave it. I mean, that's your first impression of a reading, so I think that's
Yeah,
like
but
the most honest.
sometimes it's just like about the emotions that I have. So I cannot
Ah,
really read a
okay.
book right after I read it. I have to wait a bit and discuss it thoroughly, and then I'll be like,
Okay,
oh
okay.
yeah, that part really irritated me or whatever.
Okay,
So yeah,
okay.
I
Fair
give it a
enough.
pretty high rating.
Mhm.
Um, if you could take one lesson out from this book, what would it be?
Mali, you go first.
Okay, Molly.
Okay. Definitely, definitely about not really looking down upon people with mental disabilities at all. I mean, honestly, they're just human, just like us, and like don't really, okay, honestly, I haven't really thought about this, but also don't look at people as experiments or subjects. I mean, there's a lot of ethical issues in this, but that's what I see the most. Even if you are, especially as a psychologist, if you are doing experiments on a person and things like that, look at them as a human being, treat them as a human being, and yeah, something like that. Have a lot of sort of
Fellow
empathy.
psychologist people.
Yeah, I recommended this book to all my psychology friends, so yeah, making them all read it.
All right, and then
Sorry.
Shahira.
Sorry, my Google Chrome just crashed all of a sudden.
Oh, you're
Okay.
Okay,
fine.
it's okay.
Okay. So one lesson I got. I think the most interesting theme revolving around flowers for Algernon was about superficial. Wait, what was it called? Superficial intelligence. Do you remember the term, Nabila? That it was in the book.
No.
Uh, something about fake intelligence, something that you produce on your own, and it's not that something that you were born with. There was that term. So I think it was something in front and then intelligence. So it was very interesting because I realized that all the experiments that they'd done, and even though it was deemed a success for a while, sometimes you wanting to be smarter than everyone else is not exactly something that suits you, or is something that is for the best for everyone. Something that maybe for one of the characters, Professor Nemur, he thought that okay, he wants to make artificial intelligence. That's the word, artificial intelligence. So he wanted to make superhumans, right? So in a way that he wanted to improve the human community, but at the end of the day, it kind of backfired, and it questions back humanity, whether do we really need to produce intelligence, or do we just do the best with what we've got and what we were born with. So that was very interesting outtake from it.
Yeah. Mine would probably be similar. It would be that you have to appreciate what you've got. I think there was one person, I can't remember who exactly, but she was like, you shouldn't be playing around with this type of thing. You should just appreciate what God gives you. And just, I can't remember which character gave that.
The nurse.
The nurse, yeah. That nurse that got moved later on. But yeah, so she said that I think it's just a matter of just appreciate what you have. And even though some people might have less, it does not mean that they are not happy. Because like you see Charlie in the beginning, he thought that he had lots of friends and he was happy in general, even though eventually he realized that people were just making fun of him and stuff like that. But he was happy, and I think that it just goes to show that, you know, you don't necessarily have to have so much in order for you to be happy. So yeah, that's what I really enjoyed about it. So do you guys have anything else to say in the non-spoilery parts before we move on to the spoilery bits?
Nothing but go read it.
Yeah, I would say the same thing. Go read it. It's worth it.
I think it's
who would
worth
you
reading.
recommend this type of book to?
I'd recommend it to people taking psychology, of course.
For sure.
But also for people who enjoy general fiction, or even if you don't enjoy general fiction, I think this is one of the books that, you know, you might actually really enjoy. It has a lot of issues that it talks about at different level, and I think that's just really interesting. And it's one of those books that makes you think.
It's not
just like
heavy material of reading as well.
Yeah.
So I would recommend it to someone who wants, I don't know.
This book actually reminded me of a children's book that I read a long time ago. I don't know if any of you have read it before, but it's called Music of Dolphins, I think.
I don't think so.
But basically this book is something similar to Flowers for Algernon. It's like this girl, she grew up with dolphins in like an island because I think she was in a shipwreck before or something like that. And so she starts writing this journal, and it starts off with her having very simple words and like very spaced out writing. But then she gets rescued, and so her writing style changes and becomes a bit more intelligent. She uses bigger vocabulary and all that.
Okay.
So it's actually like a very similar style to that, which is really interesting.
This book reminds me of The Perks of Being a Wallflower, even though it's completely different, but the writing progression is kind of similar in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like if you've read Being a Wallflower. And yeah. To those who don't know, the writing style is in like kind of like diary / progress report kind of style. So he writes about what happens during his day, or how he feels, or how he sees things, like every few days, and that's how you see his progression.
Yeah, so in the beginning you see a lot of what's it called? Grammar mistakes. You see a lot of spelling mistakes. He spells progress like progris, and then he doesn't do punctuation and nothing. But then and that shows his IQ at 68. And then as his IQ increases, you see that his writing is a bit more is improving a little bit more, and then and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
So anything else? If you guys have got any questions in the audience, just put the question, even if you're just watching it for the non-spoilery parts. If you have any questions, just type it out and we will answer it.
I'm gonna spend time reading stuff in the comment section first.
Mm-hmm.
Hi people. There's Rizal, Kim. I think this is Adora. Adora is Kamalia, right? My name's that too. Shabimi, Husna, Najra. Oh my god, we have quite a few people. This is
Yeah, we have
nice.
quite a few people joining us today.
Yeah.
Let us know how many of you actually read the book and who are just here for the sake of the non-spoilery bits. But yeah, let us know if you read the book or not. So yeah.
I think Rizal read it like a while ago, right?
Mm.
And he loved it.
I think a lot of them already read it as well. I know Shai has read it.
I think the older people have read it.
I consider older now.
How about like the more mature readers? Okay, so I don't know, should we progress and move on to the spoiler part? Okay, so for those of you who have not read it, shoo shoo, we will see. Unless you want to be spoiled, then you can stay. And for those of you who have read the book, feel free to write down any questions that you have or any questions that you want us to talk about. Or
just any comments or opinions, just
say
write
hi.
down. Yeah.
Yeah. But honestly, I don't think there are that many spoilery parts unless you really just...
I mean, like, even if you get spoiled, I think you'd still enjoy the book. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I generally knew what the whole story was about from reading the synopsis from Goodreads.
Yeah, same.
And it's exactly what happened, so I'm just like, oh well. But I still enjoyed it, so yeah.
Okay, so bye everybody. Bye non-spoiler parts. Non-spoiler people. Okay, so I was gonna spend a little bit more time talking about the writing style, but I think we've pretty much covered it. Unless you guys wanna.
No, I found this really interesting, kind of like reading guide, like a discussion list of questions. If you guys want to go through it, you could go through it, a little bit, but it's up to you guys if you want to try it out.
If you think like they'll help.
I've got a few questions, but if
we can go through naps first.
There are any other questions that we didn't cover, we can go through that list as well.
Definitely.
Okay. Because there's actually a lot of things that you can write to talk about. So the first thing that I wanted to talk about was Charlie's character and his progression and how towards the end, well, not towards the end of the book, in the middle of the book, he realizes that there are two separate Charlies. He refers to the boy sitting at the window. He feels like as if the other Charlie is like watching him constantly. So I just wanted to get your thoughts about that and how it reflects his character and such.
I think that was a very interesting part because it goes to show that despite the operation being deemed successful, you could never really get rid of your old self. So even if you're always changing throughout your life, there's always something from your past that stays. That's one way of seeing it.
And Molly?
I thought it was really interesting, especially when you see that he comes back to his old self when he's drunk, right? And that's because it's in his subconscious. And I know I haven't really learned in depth about psychology, but like this whole subconscious and conscious thing, it's just I like the whole idea about it, and I actually found it kind of creepy as well. I don't know, if I was the current Charlie, it feels so haunting that the old you is like watching your every move, just waiting for you to like come back.
But it's weird because I think initially that old Charlie only appeared when he was drunk, and to the end of the book, it appeared more frequently without him getting intoxicated.
Yeah. Well, I think obviously towards the end of the book, he was starting to go back to the old Charlie and deteriorating, so maybe that's why. But I think it was a really important topic in this book is the struggle between his emotional aging and his intelligence aging, so to say. how even though like he was struggling with dealing with all these emotions that he suddenly had that he never knew he kind of had before already. And also basically because he is so forgetful, he forgot everything in his past, and only once his IQ started increasing did he like realize what happened in the past and how his parents kind of just dumped him at the Warren home, supposed to be first Warren home, and then they just dumped him. And then so his struggle to accept that, it was very like abrupt, that he had to accept that, and he had to accept the fact that people were making fun of him and not like actually his friends, when he realized that they weren't actually his friends and all that.
The parts where he realized what really happened in his past, where he actually understood why people did things and how they treated him. Okay, that one I admit was really touching lah. It was just, you feel so sorry for him.
Yeah.
Like you wish you didn't have to go through something like that. It also sort of shows how sort of cruel normal mental people are or can be, and I think that's something that really kind of what's the word in English? Apa rasa sikit lah there. Bukan rasa, it's just it makes me feel responsible for the normal humans, how they treat people like that.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, but it was also interesting to consider that this book was written in the 70s, so probably the time that it occurred was so much different than if Charlie were to live in our age right now.
Yeah,
I feel like it might be slightly different, but not so much.
Could be.
Also, speaking of like the fact that this book was written a while ago, did you guys find retarded a bit of an offensive word? Because I personally find it offensive. Like it's kind of politically, well, not politically incorrect, but you guys know what I mean. It's like you don't usually.
Yeah.
I didn't personally. I didn't find it offensive. I think
I don't know. I found it offensive.
People with like low IQ, but the context of how you use that word is kind of what makes it offensive.
That's true.
Yeah.
Fair point. Okay. That's why we have Shahira here today. Yeah. And I also wanted to talk about Charlie's relationship with the people in his bakery. I found it really interesting how in the beginning he, like, once he goes through his operation, he realizes that those people were just making fun of him and that they started not liking him once they realized that he was getting smarter. But he also realized that people didn't like him before, they were just making fun of him. But I found it really interesting how towards the end, when he went back to the bakery, they were more accepting of him and backed him up. And I'm just wondering, like, what you guys thought about that.
Molly, you want to go first?
Okay. I really liked that part. I liked how it sort of shows that these people sort of learn from their behavior before. Like, they realized that they sort of mistreated Charlie when he was still like that, and they took advantage of him. And then when he got even smarter than them, like, they feel so insecure and just inferior to him. And I guess they sort of, like, you could say thankful in a way when he gets back to his old self, and sort of they learn from what they did, and they don't want to treat him that way anymore. So I guess I like the lessons that's being introduced in those kind of scenes.
I think the situation would have been very different if they had known that Charlie went through the operation in the first place. The reason why
they still didn't. Yeah, I forgot.
They didn't know.
The reason why they freaked out so bad was the sudden change from Charlie being a retard to suddenly being a genius, and they couldn't explain it. And of course, human beings get scared by something they couldn't explain. But I think if, especially the boss, Herman, was it his name? I forgot.
Yeah.
So I think if he knew about the operation, that his situation could have been so much different, and people maybe would have been much more.
Do you think they would be more understanding?
Yeah, I think so.
I think a few of them would be, but people like Joe Karp and Frank Riley, they might not have been as accepting as Herman would probably be. Like
they
just
might feel like it's cheating. Or
yeah.
I don't know.
This is just my theory.
But wait. wasn't he like in the newspaper, things like
Yeah,
that?
but I guess you wouldn't read about it unless you read like
Yeah.
literature, like
I guess like in that part, it wasn't that clear lah whether his friends actually knew about it or not.
yeah. I mean, if obviously if you don't listen to the news or if you don't read the news, then you wouldn't know about it. So
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
maybe,
true.
yeah, maybe they didn't because I mean, obviously they weren't that intellectual, so to speak, anyways. They were just normal
Mm.
people who work in a bakery. But I feel
Mm.
like the reason that they kind of accepted Charlie in the end was maybe because they realized that he was a human. Because when, obviously, when
Mm.
he became smarter, he made them realize that he was just a normal human being. And even though he wouldn't have realized that people were making fun of him, he, inside, somewhere deep inside him, he just wants to be accepted as a normal human being.
Yeah, that's true.
Mhm.
And so the next thing I wanted to talk about is his relationship with his family.
Mm.
Mhm.
Charlie had a very tragic past, obviously. His parents, and it was very interesting to see the mom's development, especially when because when she got pregnant, she started to, and when she got pregnant with her second child, with
Mm.
Norma, and gave
Yeah.
birth to Norma, she once she realized that she could give birth to a normal child, she kind of neglected Charlie and
Yeah.
started beating him and treating him horribly.
She
And
just wants him to be normal.
Because she
yeah,
wasn't the kind of person to care too much about what other people thought about her. She wanted to keep the reputation of that perfect American family thing going on. And
yeah,
yeah,
that's true.
it's different. She couldn't accept it.
And then the father, I found it interesting that the father was a bit more accepting, like understanding,
Accepting.
but in the end, he still like kind of just gave him away and
Yeah.
dumped him
I
in
think
the
he might have
bakery.
given him away
But
reluctantly,
he
maybe.
I think he did a sort of kindness as well. He didn't send him straight to
Yeah.
Warren. He sent him to his uncle,
Yeah.
uncle or
He
Yeah,
went
someone,
on
and yeah, I
time
thought
to
that was kind of nice of him. Like even though it was still cruel of him to give him away, but I feel I kind of feel warm towards the father. I don't know why.
yeah, that is
Maybe
true.
because of how
I did
he
feel that
always
too.
backs Charlie up and everything. And like when Norma tries to give special treatment, no, not Norma, the mother wants to give special treatment to Norma. He's always there trying to be fair. And I know I like that. And that is how he's being normal. He's treating Charlie as a normal kid. So I don't know.
I
but um, I feel like he never really got closure with his family, especially his
Mm. Oh,
dad.
that's sad.
Well, actually, like
agree.
even his mom, he never really got proper closure, and his dad and how I don't know. What do you guys think? Like, why do you think he didn't approach his dad when he knew that? I mean, obviously that was his dad.
Could be a part of it was because he didn't want to dwell too much into the past. Maybe he felt like he would be uncovering too much that he would be overwhelmed. I don't know. But then this was
Also because he
before
already knew that he was
Um,
deteriorating, right?
Not at wait,
contract
no, at that time, not yet. I think
because it
Oh
was right
yeah.
after the
no,
conference.
not yet. It
That
was
only
right after
then
the
he started
Oh,
to
okay,
realize.
okay then. Okay, then I'm not sure.
So I think he
Okay.
decided early on that he didn't want to contact his family because personally I think it could be because he was scared of what how his family would react. But once he started realizing that his IQ was going to go back down again, he wasted no time and searched for his mom.
I'm just curious as to why like he didn't say to his dad like, "Look, I'm smart
Yeah,
now" or whatever.
right.
But maybe it's because I feel obviously he needed more closure with his mom than his dad because I feel like he constantly craved her acceptance as a child. And so like even when she was grown up, he craved for that, and that's why he confronted his mom rather than his dad. But I'm just still wondering why he never really like spoke to his dad or anything. I mean, they
Mm-hmm.
weren't talking for about 17 years, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
That's a really long time. So yeah. Also, Norma. I mean, obviously, as a child, Norma was like very happy to. Oh, also, I thought it was very cruel how she thought that he was dead, how everyone, all his family members, just assumed that he was dead.
I think it was initially his mom was the one who told Norma that he was dead.
Yeah. So she's the
That's
cruel one.
not, I don't know, I don't really blame Norma much for it. She was just like the end of the receiving line as well.
Hmm.
So it was the mom who told her that he was dead, and maybe she was trying to get rid of him from their lives. Like,
Do you think the mom knew that he went to the uncle or the bakery rather than Warren?
most,
She might not know, right?
no.
Yeah, I don't think they mentioned if she knew about it or not.
But it seems like only the dad like knew what
Yeah,
happened. I don't know. And the dad left the family, so
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
But I
Yeah.
think this would be a really good story for those who have kids in the current day, for those who have kids who are mentally challenged, especially for parents,
Mm.
and like for parents to kind of understand. And honestly, this book is just good for people to generally understand what they're going through, and how that even
Hmm.
though they don't realize it, they still just want to be accepted.
Hmm.
I think it was
Accepted
What
in
what
for
society.
okay, sorry.
parents raising mentally challenged children as well, because apparently the book highlights a lot of challenges associated with it,
Hmm.
academically, socially, stuff like that.
Um, I don't know if it's just me, but the book kind of expands more than just mentally disabled people.
Hmm.
For me, it's like it sort of teaches me how you should treat everyone as a human being. Like anyone who is more inferior to you in certain characteristics and things like that. Basically, it's just anyone with a disadvantage. They are humans as well. They have feelings as well. So I like that it doesn't just let me learn only in that aspect.
Hmm.
Also in general as well.
It does, yeah. I like
Yeah.
thinking how there was throughout the book, I just kept envisioning that this was written in the 70s, and if Charlie was in 2016, he would be treated so much different than he was back then.
But I don't really
Mm.
think so, honestly.
Really?
I feel like, um, what do you mean by when you say like he would be treated so much more differently?
As
Because
in
back
better?
then, I think there were lack of what do you call this? Available services for parents dealing with mentally challenged or low IQ children. So you wouldn't have that many hospitals or health centers providing help. So as you can see that his mom was desperately trying to go to so many doctors who weren't really qualified, and it was just difficult during that time, I think, for them to accept the fact that he was a retard. So now it's much more open. We have more articles or associations dealing with helping parents or caretakers with this kind of issues that maybe socially he would have been able to be in a different state. I don't know. It's just the way I
Okay, in that sense, I definitely agree that he would have had it better if he was in,
the way he was raised.
if
Yeah.
it was written in this period of time. But I personally don't think that socially his situation
Yeah.
would have been any better, especially when he went to the school. I mean, obviously nowadays I think you would have special classes
Special
and special
schools. Yeah.
schools for that. But I think
Mm.
if um, people in general, and I'm talking this in a very, like, I'm generalizing people here, people would still treat him the way that Charlie was treated back in the 70s as well, because I just feel like it's still not as made,
Yeah.
like, people would still make fun of him, people would still take advantage of him.
That's true.
I just feel
If
like,
not directly, then talking behind his back, things like
yeah,
that, probably.
exactly.
Mm. Mm.
So yeah, I mean, I definitely agree that there would be more help nowadays. So,
Yeah.
and I wanted to talk about Charlie's relationship with people from the lab.
Mhm.
So Dr. Strauss, Professor Niemer, and Bert.
But
Yeah. So what are your thoughts on that? And like,
I think he had a very interesting, almost an affectionate relationship with Bert and a little bit with Dr. Strauss. But Professor Niemer, you can tell that he was pretty much doing it I don't know, kind of like a reputation in line was at stake.
I
That
found it. Go ahead. Sorry.
sorry, you can go ahead.
I found it very interesting how when he went to the conference, he was like, and he asked Dr. Strauss what he knew about certain subjects, and how he realized that Dr. Strauss didn't even know as many languages as he had, and he called them fake. Like they were all fake, and they were all just snobby little people. I found it really interesting how he perceived it that way. Because he, like, obviously when he was uh, before he went under the operation, he thought of them as like gods, and like how they were like so much more intellectually superior than him. But then he realized that these people probably only know about certain subjects in a very limited manner.
And that they also are humans.
Yeah, and that they're also human, and that was very interesting for me.
He kind of idolized everyone to
Yeah.
be much more smarter than him and kind of like perfect human beings who, didn't have any shortcomings. Yeah.
He was a bit rebellious at one point, right? Like
To
I think
yeah.
it was at the conference. I think I don't know. I was kind of rooting out for him. Like, yeah, go take your human rights.
But I
yeah.
think he might have gone about it the wrong way.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I mean, I'm trying to understand that the fact that he's still technically a child. I mean, he doesn't have the emotion. The thing that I really like about this book is it shows that he didn't have the emotional experience. Okay, hold on. I wrote this somewhere. He doesn't have the emotional experience to kind of like to go hand in hand with the intelligence that he's got.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Macam tak parallel. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
I have a question, by the way.
Go ahead.
What do you guys feel about the title of the book? I mean, the title is Flowers for Algernon, but like we don't actually talk about Algernon a lot, and I know the book doesn't really talk about Algernon a lot either, but do you feel emotionally attached to the mouse at all?
I did. I think I did towards the end, and it was quite self-explanatory about what would happen to Algernon after that.
Yeah, I guess so.
So I kind of like, okay, he's gonna die at the end. It's like, oh, it's gonna be so sad.
Well, the thing is, I feel like Algernon and Charlie were kind of the same being, even though one was a mouse and one was human, obviously. But I feel like they were kind of the same people, the same. I don't know if I'm putting this right, but the same being.
At the end, it was kind of nice, right?
Sorry. So like whatever Algernon went through, Charlie went through as well. I mean, obviously the mouse couldn't say what he wanted to say, but Charlie, basically you're reading the mind of Algernon from Charlie's perspective. That's what I felt like it was.
Okay.
And I felt like the even though that they didn't talk too much about Algernon, basically Charlie and Algernon were the same beings, and you understand Algernon from Charlie.
Is it Algernon?
I just felt like towards the. Okay, sorry.
Sorry, I just wanted to ask: is it Algernon or Algernon?
Oh, I read it as Algernon.
I say Algernon, but it could be Algernon. I don't know.
I remember watching an episode of Friends, and one of the characters, I don't know if you guys watch Friends, one of the characters, Chandler, he read the book and he pronounced it as Algernon. Yeah, he pronounced it as Algernon.
I don't remember that.
I don't know.
Cool.
That episode where they switch apartments with Monica and
okay.
So he mentioned a quote that he said, once I live in this huge house, I can't go back to that smaller apartment. Have you not read Algernon?
That's so cute.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, it was a very cool reference.
I'll have to research it. But yeah, Algernon, I guess. Molly, you were saying?
Okay, now I was just saying, towards the end, I did feel like the bond between Algernon and Charlie, and I really liked that. I felt it a bit towards the end, like when he said, what did he say? Like, he told someone to go send flowers to his grave or something, Algernon's
Yeah,
grave. And that was so sweet, though. But I just wish that we got more evidence of how close he felt to Algernon in his other entries. I don't know, maybe just a bit more. That would have like added it all up for me, lah.
maybe,
Yeah,
yeah.
and would have made more sense of the title for me. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, tu je.
Okay. So another relationship that I wanted to kind of talk about was Charlie's relationship with girls,
Oh
in
yeah.
general, especially with Alice and Faye. So yeah, talk. Shahira and Molly, go first.
Alice
Who
and
who goes first? Okay,
Molly lah.
Shahira, you go first.
Okay, hold on. Alice and
Okay.
Faye. I think the relationship with Alice was kind of like I sympathized with Alice because she felt guilty in a sense that she had to take care of him since she was the one who recommended his name to the lab, the Beekman College lab. And towards the end, I think she had that sense of caring for him up until the end to see where he would be sent off. Faye, on the other hand, was just like a very free-spirited kind of girl who was just his neighbor and ended up, sleeping with him and going out with him. But that kind of helped him on an emotional level because he transitioned from a boy to a man in a way by going out with Faye. And I don't think he really managed to got that if he went out with Alice instead.
True. I just found it interesting. I like that the two different girls kind of represented different kinds of relationships. How Faye basically he was able to sleep with her. I think he slept with her. He slept with her first, and then like he was unable, like even though he knew he loved Alice, he couldn't make a move on her or like be with her just because he felt like I'm not actually
He was like,
sure why he was unable to do that. Was it?
I think because the old Charlie was still there, kind of like, yeah, the old Charlie was like still inside him and sees Alice as a teacher instead of anyone more. I don't know.
Uh,
Maybe.
yeah,
I
and
was
just
just
like, go ahead.
No, I was just kind of confused about the whole romance inside lah. It wasn't much of a romance, but it had a touch of it. And like the only thing I got from it was that he saw Alice as the one who he truly loved, and I guess in the end he did manage to like prove that. So I don't know. It was really confusing.
I think they played
for
a really
me.
important role though in the book. Just like Shahira said um, to reflect on his emotional growth because like I said before, he didn't have the emotional experience to go with everything that he knows. So like I think it was very necessary for him to kind of go through, even though it was only for a short period of time, to like realize he was falling in love and also like the different types of relationship. And I thought it was very necessary for his emotional growth. So I thought and so yeah. And what was I?
I think Alice was a very interesting character though.
Uh-huh.
Because imagine like having a mentally disabled student that you've been teaching and you sort of already have this perception of them and then suddenly falling in love with them like as they grew. I don't know, I feel like that's awkward but very complicated and interesting.
Yes,
It's
yeah.
just like, whoa, how would I be in that kind of situation? It's just something you don't normally like
She tried to
see
avoid it
every day lah.
initially. Yeah, she tried to avoid it, but then she ended up falling in love with
Ah,
him as well.
yeah, I don't know. I think in that aspect it was really interesting lah.
I
I really liked
think
that.
the way they ended their relationship towards the end was very sad because
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
in the end Charlie
But
just
I like that she was being realistic. I really like that she was being realistic though.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
If it was a
Charlie
romantic cliche, she would have like been with him until the end, like in the Notebook or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like how realistic the book kind of
Talking
is.
about like being with him to the very end, do you think obviously he stops writing the
No.
progress reports after he goes into Warren, but how do you think like do you think he died quickly, like died thereafter, like Algernon, or do you think he just
Oh.
mentally deteriorated until he was unable to function even
That's a very
basic
interesting point
functions?
because we will never know like to what extent his deterioration will go to, like what are the limitations of the
Mm.
experiment.
Mm-hmm.
If like Algernon, because he's small, maybe because the capacity of his brain is like lower, so he died. But as
Mm-hmm.
humans, I don't know. I think personally,
Probably longer.
yeah, I think probably he lived only with either with the original state of IQ that he had, which
Or
was 60
worse.
or lower. Yeah.
Mm.
I feel like,
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't think to the point that he died. I don't know. I don't think so.
Mm.
Yeah, I just kind of wish they kind of showed what happened, whether or not, like, because, somebody mentioned it before. I think it was him actually. He mentioned that he was not sure that if once he started deteriorating,
Mhm.
he would deteriorate
Take
so
it.
much to the point where he couldn't even function, like, do basic things.
Um,
And I think in Algernon, I mean, obviously a mouse, I mean, Algernon, you would assume that Algernon was able to do basic things like run, find food, eat, and all
Yeah.
that. But then towards the end of his life, he went crazy and he went kind of because he started biting people, he started acting out, and
not
then he
big.
just kind
Yeah.
of
But it's
died.
interesting because, sorry, they never say the cause of death for Algernon. Algernon, in a way that his IQ
Mm.
deteriorated, but was it because I don't know, he bit himself? Was it because he kept trashing into the walls? Was it because that he,
Yeah. It was just that Algernon died 2 days ago.
yeah, died?
Yeah.
So you don't know whether was it brain
Yeah.
dead or something. But they did mention
Uh,
that his brain reduced in size, I think, after that. They sliced his
ah.
brain
Yeah,
off.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so maybe those things are related as well. Could be.
Mhm.
Also, one point that I found very interesting when Charlie was starting to like realize that other people were just being snobby and they were kind of fake. Um, do you think there's relevant and irrelevant information or research in this world, or do you think that all knowledge is welcomed? Because at one point, Charlie realizes that there were some like really pointless articles, and that like he was like, even though Niemer wasn't going about it the right way, at least Niemer was trying to work towards something better, and his research was relevant. So I'm just wondering what you guys thought of that.
Hmm. I would say that in the research world, um, that's a saying that even if you have negative results, it's still results because it kind of shows people what not to do
Mm.
in the future. So I don't know. I kind of forgot that part where he mentioned useless articles or what was it again, Nabila? The articles that
Yeah, he was. I think he was like just. He found that some articles were just pointless.
okay.
Like it was so irrelevant and doesn't do anything to like help.
Oh, okay, I remember. Was it the one where he said that they focus too much on the small things instead of
Yeah, yeah,
trying to
something
look
like
at the
that.
big picture? Yeah, maybe. Yeah. I don't know. The funny thing about research is that people are always digging into the smallest vacant, smallest spots to do research and finding something, and that's. I'm sure it goes the same for psychology. I'm not a psychologist like Mali, so I don't know how your research tends to go about. But I think that it was a very useful experiment, even if it meant that Charlie was the one who suffered, because he did save potential lives
Mhm.
from going into the same fate
Mhm.
as his. And then what else? Yeah, I think that's it that I can think of right now.
Mhm.
Mali?
Wait, what was the actual question?
The actual question was, do you think there's relevant and irrelevant research, or do
Ah,
you feel like all knowledge and research is welcomed?
I think the all knowledge research thing is welcome. Yeah, done. And because every small thing that you learn, even if it's irrelevant, you wouldn't know it was irrelevant until you did it.
Yeah.
So every small thing that you learn can actually benefit and sort of guide you to your future research as well, where to go, where to not to go, and stuff.
Sorry, Mali, are you going to do any research soon for your course?
Sorry?
I think that's very essential to her course.
Right. Are you going to do research soon? Like your final year or something? Is that like a
Uh, Still my first year. Third year we'll have like a final year project
Oh,
and
that's cool.
probably we'll
So
go
you get
into
to
that. But like I'm doing general psychology. Some of my friends are doing cognitive
oh,
neuroscience.
okay.
So that's probably more related. I don't know.
The best part about
Yeah.
psychology is that if you go for their experiments, they always pay you.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But I go to the ones where they give you credit, like
Oh, like,
marks for your module.
oh,
But they're very interesting. They're very interesting. I really like the feedback you get. Like, why did you do this? What was the experiment for? Things like
okay,
that.
that's cool.
Yeah.
So now that you've read this book and you've gotten Charlie's perspective, what are your views on animal testing?
I'm just gonna charge my laptop.
All right.
Okay. By the way, just want to point out it's 9:51.
Oh
Okay.
yeah, sorry.
No, it's okay. Actually, even in the book, I felt that it was kind of cruel to make Algernon do all of those things in the first place. Like, oh my God, he's a rat. He gets tired and everything. Generally, I don't like the idea of animal testing, but I have to acknowledge that it might be necessary in order to to test certain things that are important. I don't know. I mean, I don't like it. I don't like it, but I think to an extent, I understand why it's necessary.
Yeah, I also
Yeah.
have very conflicting views on that because although
Hmm.
while it is very cruel and like you see like I said before, Algernon, and you basically understand Algernon from the point of view of Charlie. So like from that, I don't want animal testing to happen. I feel like it's very cruel because animals like humans also have kind of emotions as well. And so yeah, but at the same time, I feel like it is necessary as
Research.
well in purpose of research and all that. So I don't know. I have very conflicting views on that.
I think it's quite necessary up to a point, but I'm not sure if there are any existing laws or regulations in the US or in Malaysia, in fact, that kind of like prohibits animal testing. So I'm guessing that there isn't, and it's crucial if especially for science development, research development. Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
against animal testing if it's for cosmetics and stuff, but I think for science
Oh, cosmetics, yeah.
development, I'm not
But
too
at the
much.
same time, if like in terms of cosmetics, you have to test how safe it is for humans to use. And
Yeah.
obviously, if you put a human in danger, that's even I don't know. It's kind of difficult to say because if you put a human in danger versus you put an animal in danger, it's kind of difficult, I think.
But then there's the question of whether it's necessary to test, cosmetics, just
Yeah.
cosmetics. You can go organic, I don't know. But yeah, it's very debatable, all these
It is
kind
very
of
useful, yeah.
animals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you have like so many different chemicals going into cosmetics, and you're gonna have to how do you say this? You have to follow regulations, safety regulations set by the companies and also the nation.
Hmm.
So I guess sometimes they use animals to see if there is any danger of that chemical, and if there is, then they go back to the lab and change the formula, and change the design and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a yeah, human rights party would go nuts over that one.
So that's all the questions that I have. Do you guys have any other questions?
I don't think so. It's already 9. Yeah, it's almost
Not
2.
really a question, but I just want to ask, did you feel a bit of your heart breaking when you
Yeah.
realize his writing is getting worse?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that was the saddest part.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
was
that was
And
sad. I'm like, oh my God, is this just a
a
typo error in the book,
typo.
or is it actually him,
yeah, every
starting to
time
make
I came
mistakes?
across like a word that I'm not used to, like there was one word, it was like THRU for through, and I was like, wait, is it
Ah, yeah,
supposed to be
yeah,
like
yeah.
this? Or is it supposed to like symbolize that his intelligence is
Yeah. I'm like, oh
deteriorating?
my God,
And the
no.
worst
It's
part
really
is
happening.
he is realizing that he's going through this. Like before
Ah,
that, he
yeah,
kind of doesn't realize, he doesn't understand everything. But now
yeah.
that he's realizing that, and he was just so desperately trying to like cling on to any knowledge whatsoever, and he was trying to be like. There was one thing that he mentioned that was really nice. It was like you could either go down an escalator or you could walk up an escalator that is going down. So he like if you'd walk up an escalator that's going down, then you would be
Like
like
stationary
staying
and
in
not
the
going
same place.
anywhere.
Yeah, you would be stationary and staying in the same place. So he was trying desperately to like stay in his mental ability, but then towards the end, I felt like it was very, very rapid. His writing like
Yeah.
deteriorated
It was all within
rapidly.
a span of eight
Yeah.
months, I think. The lock thing going
Yeah,
on.
the whole thing. Yeah.
It's very
Yeah.
It was one thing I wanted to highlight was that I was quite surprised by how well he still remembered a little bit of his achievements as his IQ was deteriorating. Um,
Mm.
I remember him writing that his grammars and his spellings were haywire already by that time, and then he said that he was reading his article that he published, and then he remembers a bit of him publishing it, but he don't remember the details anymore. I
Yeah.
found
That's
that
very psychology. It's in
yeah,
psychology, yeah. It's
it's
about
very interesting. It's like,
types
oh,
of
you still
memories.
remember that you were a genius
Yeah.
once. That's very interesting.
And he was like, there was one quote that I just kind of like, my heart broke a little. He was like, I'm probably the first dumb person to make a
Uh,
contribution to
Yeah,
science. And I'm like, oh,
that was. Yeah.
I feel so sad. But do you guys think that this research is still going on, or do you think, like, what now that you've read this, do you think it is necessary for this research to continue, or, well, actually, obviously it is, or do you think that people should just appreciate kind of what they have and like make do with it?
I think the
depends on
latter
the
for me.
application for it. I'm trying to imagine what types of application artificial intelligence will go to. I know they're doing for robotics, but for humans, I don't know. Are there any ongoing experiments? Not that I've.
I mean, I'm sure that there are like research, but I'm just wondering, like, I'm not sure if any experiment is going on, but do you think it should be continued, or do you think people should just do research but not
Do
do
anything
anything
about it?
about it? Yeah. It's just instead of trying to improve on it, people should just, personally, I feel like they shouldn't try to improve their IQ, but rather sort of just understand them as a human being. So it goes back into
Mm.
psychology, I feel like. But at the same time,
Um,
obviously, people would want to increase their IQ, but I'm just not sure if that is.
Possible.
No, I'm not like, I'm pretty sure eventually it'll become possible, but I'm just not sure if it is morally right to do that,
Mhm.
That's it.
right?
I think in the future that could be something to enhance your intelligence biologically. Um, it's not gonna stop people from doing it. It's
Yeah.
Mm.
most probably there will be some sort of operation to improve your lives, but I hope that it goes into the direction of really helping retarded people to a
Mhm.
point where they can socialize normally and just have a normal life. Yeah.
Mhm.
Like they say that you can't really stop Parkinson's disease, but you can create so many things to help them. So maybe this is one of the
Mm.
things.
Mhm.
It's a possible thing that we shouldn't just cut it off from our lives.
Mhm.
I just think
Okay.
there's like a silver lining to it. It's kind of difficult to just know how far you should go, I guess.
Mhm.
Mhm.
The one thing I found really distressing was the lack of explanation for Professor Niemer's experiment. Like, we got a glimpse of the experiment in detail at the conference only, but maybe because it was from Charlie's point of view from the logbook. So from there, only then we knew, oh, he wanted to build artificial intelligence. What was his whole point of the experiment? So we just like got a very small scope into it. Like I would have been very interested to see what were his whole intentions have been, what was the mission objectives and everything. It would have been interesting to see his methodologies and his way forward.
Yeah.
Because he didn't really explain like, okay, now Charlie's a genius, what's next? He didn't really explain much about that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, do you guys have any other questions?
Yeah, I'm good.
I'm good.
Yeah, so I think we've like kind of overrun it for an
Yeah,
hour. But there was just
Yeah.
a lot to talk about, okay?
Yeah.
it's a
Yeah.
very
And
interesting.
people in the comment section, they're getting a bit emotional here.
I know Najwa is getting like She's almost crying, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, the point Najwa brought up a good point. She said, "At the time when he wrote, it's easy to have friends if you let people laugh at you." That
Ah.
kind of just makes me really sad.
It is sad.
But like I said, he was happier with
Mm.
what he had, and so yeah. Oh,
And I just hug Charlie.
so yeah. So that's it, I think.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
cool.
I hope you guys enjoyed this live show. If you have any comments, I'm pretty sure the comment part will continue. So just if you want to just
Yeah. I'm gonna go there and chat after this.
yeah, I'll go there and chat as
Yeah.
well. All right, so
Yeah.
that's it. And yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you for watching.
thanks for watching.
Oh, also, wait. You can join us for next month's live
Oh,
show.
yeah.
We'll be reading Ready Player One by Ernest Cline. And yeah,
And
go get a
also,
copy.
we have a survey in our Twitter account where basically you can vote on the books that you want to read for the future. We're going to do it earlier this time around just so we can get Bookalish
books
to
early.
bring in earlier because obviously like Mali doesn't have the physical copy and it's kind of difficult to read it
Yeah.
on the
Hasn't
ebook.
arrived yet. As the book hasn't arrived yet.
No.
No, yeah, but I'm still gonna get it
Okay.
later.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, we'll see you guys around.
Yeah,
Okay.
we'll see you guys
Bye.
next
Thank you
time.
so much.
Bye. Thank you so much, Shahira,
Okay,
for
bye.
joining as well. It was very lovely to have you, and it was very insightful as
Thank
well.
you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Sorry for just coming in. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.